Sometimes, when the earth quakes, there is a clear shift in the earth's crust. In this process I call my life, there have been circumstances that created life quakes, causing shifts where cracks developed. These shifts created a time before and a time after. There have been many quakes in my life that created a shift that altered the trajectory of my life, some more than others. When I look at these shifts, I looked at the cracks as simply a fine line that divided my past and my future. But one day I realized that what that crack represented was the now. The crack was a time I needed to give myself so that I could discover who I currently am in this new reality and figure out where I want to go from here. Every year I am fortunate enough to join this amazing group of women in this wonderful expression of us. These women's talent and what they do always brings me to that level of gratitude, awe, and inspires personal exploration. Each year I develop a theme based on where my life has taken me. After pondering the now, I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea to explore the now as my theme for this year's art show? I've been through some tough times in the past few years, and I thought, what a blissful time it will be to write about living in the now, how magical each moment in my life will be. I moved to Vancouver and was given the wonderful opportunity to live in Kitsilano, just a few blocks from the beach. I thought, what a fantastic start to this blissful experience. I went off social media, I turned off my phone, and I restricted my socializing to people who had spontaneous visits with me in Vancouver. My goal was to engross myself in the experience of living in the moment and figure out who I am now, separate from who I have been and who I want to be. So it began, just me and my life and the excitement of now. The feelings of joyful apprehension filled me as I looked forward to the blissfulness. Immediately, I was overwhelmed with emotions. It was horrible. I hated it. I felt like I was torturing myself. I was alone, and I had to look at me and my situation in life and where I was without the filter of my wonderful past memories or my perpetual unrealistic dreams of my future. I had to view myself precisely where I was. That quake in my life that caused the shift, that crack, it wasn't just a crack, it was a canyon. I felt like I had fallen and was now living in the deep, dark crevice. In this crevice, I felt regret for every decision I had ever made. I felt like a failure for achieving nothing and accumulating nothing. I felt lonely and pathetic for doing this to myself. But I continued as I began to become aware of my past patterns. I spent my life covering instead of recovering, and there were layers of pain that I needed to release so I could move into my future with confidence. As I was writing, I became an observer of my life. I could see and feel the things that would bring me out of the crevice or the things that made me fall deeper still. The bizarre thing is, when I was in my early 20s, I lived just 4 blocks away from where I was living now in Kitsilano. It was in this place that my life took the hugest shift, and yet at the time I went on with my life like nothing had happened. The shift occurred, and I left all my dreams and aspirations behind, because I had fallen into this crevice, and I've been making decisions and creating dreams and goals within this emotional canyon, and I couldn't understand why I wasn't getting anything I wanted. Nothing was obtainable because my dreams were way above me, and I was in this deep, dark place. Through this process of living in the now, I stopped and took a good, hard look at myself. In this crack in my life, in this now, I was feeling and experiencing where I was. Being alone, I began to do things to fill my cup, as it was just me. I could see the things that raised me and the things that made me fall. I learned that I needed to do to lift myself out. I experienced, I accepted, I forgave, and I gave myself lots of self-love. I had to raise myself out of this place to a place where I felt worthy of my dreams, a place where they felt obtainable, a place where my dreams and I were at the same level. Finally, I've gotten to that point where I actually like living in the now. I'm beginning to understand that my life is perpetually in a shift, and I'm always on that crack. Embracing the now still has its ups and downs, and there are moments that I find myself falling and sometimes even plummeting into the canyon. But I now know I have the skills to enable me to lift myself out. Now that I have uncovered and exposed those memories and experience that held me down, I will no longer cover or hide from pain, but expose it so I can step back out of the crevice and fully enjoy life. It took a while, but I now love living in the crack. This now isn't so bad at all.